Welcome back to another episode of TVGP's Critical Misses. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpear.
Howdy.
We did the infamous last week. Sorry, last episode, 2 weeks ago. And
4 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, who knows at this point?
yeah, 17 years ago. So we'll do the famous, the positive one here. And we're going to do everything, everywhere, all at once.
Yes.
And
Oh, hey, I got my letters right. I just randomly typed in a bunch of E's, A's, and
Oh, there
O's
you-
into my file name, and it turns
ASDF,
out it worked.
SDF.
Yes, exactly.
I'm glad we chose this as our sort of famous to our infamous for this twofer here, because the Golden Globes happened recently, and it's just like, yeah, you're taking home
Yes.
all of those awards.
Mhm.
Just scoop up one of each of them. So
Who cares about the Oscars?
that's right. And I think we had originally, when we were looking at infamous and famous for 2022, the infamous couldn't be anything other than Morbius, and I think we
True.
had a couple of different options for this one. I think RRR was kind of a very close runner. For any patrons over at patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
You can hear the production meeting if you're at the $5 tier or higher, and you can hear the whole kind of, I was going to say fight, but we never really fight about it. We had the conversation.
No. I know
about
I
it.
basically slapped down the Batman. I was like, no, bad Boston.
Yeah, that'll fit somewhere else. If something had a home somewhere else, then we can fit it in there. But I think Everything Everywhere was kind of one of those movies that when it came out and enough people saw it, one of those movies where someone's like, "Oh, did you see this yet?" And you're like, "No, I just haven't made it." And they're like, "Oh man, I can't believe you have. Oh, you got to go see." It's it's one of those movies of like, it's those you got to see it type of movies.
Yeah,
So.
definitely. Did you did you see, speaking of the Golden Globes, did you see Jamie Lee Curtis's response to Michelle Yeoh winning this?
No.
So Jamie Lee Curtis is a huge fan of Michelle Yeoh, like they're total besties.
Okay.
And you should, if you're a listener and Boston you as well, you should totally check out the moment that she finds out she wins it. Jamie Lee Curtis is sitting right next to her and loses her mind.
That's great. Oh man.
So good.
This is an interesting one though, because I feel like for as much as people have been talking about this movie and praising it over the last handful of months, I feel like I really don't know much about it. I know Michelle Yeoh is in this. I know there's like a googly eye at some point. I know the famous quote from it, which I won't say here in case it's like kind of it's the thing you see on Twitter all of the time.
Wait, because I don't know what this is. Now you have to say it.
Okay, we'll definitely talk about it. It feels, from what I understand, is it comes at kind of the climax of the movie, and it's a bit of like an important line. So I kind of don't want to say it up front in case anybody hasn't, because I don't know how important it is. I just know that everybody's like, oh, it's the line from the movie. So, but other than that, I feel like I'm not sure if this has been on purpose that people haven't really gotten into like what the movie is about, other than, yo, you need to go see this thing, which is maybe kind of refreshing. Where I feel like 5 minutes after a piece of media comes out, everybody's like, oh, can you believe that everybody died in the end? What an incredible heart-jerking thing. It's like, are you for real? It's like 12:05 a.m. How did you even finish it so fast? Do you live in New Zealand?
It's the
Surf
Disney
Shark?
Plus / HBO Max
That's right.
crap where like people just immediately talk about stuff the
That's right.
second it's taken care of. But I mean, you're not wrong. I know. Have you seen the trailer for this?
No, because it's one of those ones where I was like, all right, everybody's super pumped about it. I should just go see it. We have a show for that.
I have. Yes, we do. We have a show for everything these
Mm,
days. Like, tune
that's
into
fair.
our new Patreon exclusive "How to Clean Your House." Um,
Oh man, yeah.
it just no. I don't need. I don't need to
TVGP is
add.
Spark Joy coming at you.
Yes, yes, turning chores into content.
That's
The
right.
way
That's
things
right.
should be done.
That's right. If you didn't understand that we're an elder millennials over here, hashtag content.
Yes, yes, exactly. Um, I I know roughly what this is about.
Okay.
Um, that's purely because I have seen the trailer.
Mm.
Um, uh, there's a lot of stuff in here which I'm curious to see how you react to.
Okay.
Um, I was it this movie that was the movie that everybody was talking about how like it does such a good job. This and Shang-Chi were very good movies that represent like the generational trauma kind of thing. I think is this movie as well.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard that about the kind of generational trauma and shared trauma through this. Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like I've heard that too.
So I'm very interested to see exactly how this goes as someone who
Hmm.
has his fair share of generational trauma. Um,
Yeah, and how much that stuff will potentially resonate with us or not. Because I feel
uh-huh,
like the thing about generational trauma often is either it hits you like a ton of bricks or it's sort of like, oh man, that seems pretty sad. So there's
uh-huh,
kind of no kind of middle ground there.
yes. Um, I don't know. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
I think didn't she win the Golden Globe for the best actress in a comedy, which is interesting to say
Yeah,
the least.
I wasn't I didn't know which specific award she won, but that is
Yeah,
interesting.
I think she won best actor, actress slash supporting actress in a comedy.
Okay,
Uh,
interesting.
it's I don't know. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I am too, especially with how many people have been really really clicked with it in kind of an
Mhm,
interesting way. I feel like I feel like when you look at the big movies in 2022, I feel like something like the Batman being popular isn't super surprising at this point. It's like a new
mhm.
Marvel movie coming out, and people are like, "I
Who
liked
would
it."
have thought?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like what a shock! It feels like RRR and this movie being super popular. We're kind of like, yeah, man, all right. Like we've got something that's kind of different. I mean, RRR is like 3.5 hours long or something like that, so that's kind of a different beast.
Uh-huh.
But it's kind of neat to see some movies that are kind of off the beaten path and not being kind of critical darlings. They're
Yes.
more popular than that, which is great.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So I just sent you a link, by the way. You should totally click that image.
Hmm.
It's just an image, it's not the website itself.
Hold on. Hopefully this doesn't break the stream. Oh, it did. Sorry.
You're fine.
Jamie Lee Curtis is very, very excited. Two hands up in the air, pumped with the universe's symbol of like, yeah. I can't share it on the stream, but yes, Jamie Lee Curtis very pumped.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's the moment. And apparently she already turned it into a t-shirt.
great. I love it.
Jamie Lee Curtis is going to be Jamie Lee Curtis, I
Yeah.
guess. Um,
Um. Other than that, I feel like I'm not. I've sort of been purposely keeping myself a little bit in the dark on this one to kind of have that discovery moment, and I'm kind of excited to watch this. I don't know if I
yeah,
have
me
anything
too.
else to share about it.
No, I mean, I don't know who directs it. I only know Michelle Yeoh is in it.
Right.
Who, based on her previous career before this movie, I'm super hyped for because it's Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah,
In
she's
the
always
words
been
of
good.
Yeah, in the words of the cinema wins guy, Michelle Yeoh is always a win. I don't care.
That's right. I can agree with that. All right. On that note, let's go watch the film.
Boy.
Well, Moon, we're back. Little did I know I was going to be ringing in 2023 by openly sobbing while watching Michelle Yeoh stick hot dog fingers in Jamie Lee Curtis's mouth.
No, why would you reference that one? Of all of the scenes to reference,
it's like the most oddly romantic one out of all of them. I think a good friend of the show, Mackie, put it best when he said, curious to see how you're going to talk about this, like figure out how you're going to talk about this one. Yeah, man, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a 2-hour and something minute movie that has about 17 hours worth of film in it. That's just... Man,
I honestly, I don't know where to start. Actually, yes, I do. I 100% know where to start. Okay. That lady was doing pro wrestling moves.
Yeah, yes. I'm really happy that I went into this knowing virtually nothing. I knew the famous line, and that was real. I didn't even know it was like a multiverse movie.
What was the famous line again? I forgot already.
In another life, I would have loved to have done laundry and taxes with you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I think it's one of the moments I love in films where the beginning of this movie is super, super hectic with running the laundromat and Joy and her girlfriend and the dad/grandpa, and everything is just going south in a way that normal lives do with the pressure of this kind of party that's going on at the end of the day. And when the mom and Joy are arguing with the security cameras in the background, and they do that great static thing they do in movies, and then Waymond is just like jumping and leaping and sliding across a bunch of surfaces, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, what? What is this movie really about? Because I'm okay if this is like a inter-family generational strife shared disappointment thing, which it turns out it is, but also across 700 universes.
Yeah, 700, dude.
I mean, at a minimum.
A bare minimum, to say the least. Like,
yeah,
I do like the fact that they kind of focus down on like 6-ish universes, 6 or 7 basically is what they seem to focus on.
Right.
And I do like the fact that they picked 2 really absurd ones. You've already name dropped one of them with the hot dog fingers. Just
one of the like genuinely really touching romantic movies. They just also have super long hot dog fingers,
which are gross, and then they spread red and yellow liquids all over people's faces.
And like one of my favorite small moments of this movie is when Jamie Lee Curtis's character is playing the piano, the keyboard for Michelle Yeoh's character, and she's using her feet, but one of her ankles has like a wrist brace on it.
And I'm just like, same brace on that she has in the actual
and I'm like,
in the office.
This movie's great. I'm still crying, but this movie's great.
It's such a good moment like that. Yeah. That where it shows the feet. I think I caught the cast the second or third time it cut to the feet.
Right.
And I was like, oh, come on, really?
Yeah.
Like that's a really nice continuity kind of thing to just like put that in there just to, you know.
Because I think the main universes we see are like the one where Evelyn and Joy and like the kind of beginning one. You have the Alphaverse, which I guess you don't really see that much. You have the Raccooey one, which is just an incredible payoff for a really dumb joke of just like...
Yeah, it's... I honestly, when they started talking about that at the beginning, I was like, I know what you're talking about. It's Ratatouille. We get it.
Right.
But you don't want to name drop it because the big D is involved.
Exactly.
And you don't want to get sued into notoriety.
Well, it's also like an unhip parent is just like, yeah, it's like Raccooey, right? We watched that movie like 10 times.
An unhip parent in a second language.
Right. And
Like that's the kicker. It's like a mistranslation joke, and then, of course, it
but
turns out later on.
the thing I also really love is when Waymond picks it up immediately and it was like, so wait, there's a raccoon me and a raccoon Joy out there too? And he's like, yeah, he gets it. Also, that's really funny.
Yes,
Like, he finally,
like,
Ratatouille helped him bridge the gap.
yeah, and he's like, yeah, wait, what happened? Wait, was I the raccoon me again? And
Yes,
then
that's right.
and then Joy shows up, and he's like, that's the raccoon Joy, right?
That's
And
right.
he's like, yes,
Oh,
good, you get it now, you get it.
oh my god. And then, like, the idea of the name Jobu Tupaki just being this impossible name for anybody to remember for like 75% of this movie. Like, it's really really good. We see the hot dog fingers one. We see the rocks universe, which is,
That might be my favorite. I'm not
really
gonna
good.
lie.
and one of those moments
When
where
it-
I wish I had
At
seen
the
it
end,
in the theater.
when it turns around and there's eyeballs on it, and it's
Yep.
like there are no rules. Like it's
Yeah,
so good.
yeah. Gosh, what else? I just, I didn't. What? This movie's really interesting because I think,
Yeah, spoiler alert. Go watch the movie.
yeah, like if you haven't seen it, I don't know if I can spoil it for you, but we're gonna try. I do really appreciate. The movie has a couple of really distinct things to say. One is this kind of shared generational trauma / generational disappointment of, you're kind of never good enough for your parents, and that disappointment bleeds through the generations.
Yep.
In a way that interestingly also affects Jamie Lee Curtis's character too. I thought was kind of a nice small touch. But also, like, I like the idea that it's so heartbreaking early on when Evelyn is like, man, Waymond, you should have seen my life without you. Like, it was so good. Like, I just had the best life, and I'm just like, oh.
Like, she's the a-hole.
Yeah.
At the start of the movie.
For
like,
so
good,
much of the movie.
Like, a good, 50 to 75% of the movie, she's the bad guy.
Yeah, she's the worst, man. Like, and like the genesis of Jobu Tupaki and the genesis of the Everything Bagel really is distilling down to Evelyn being too busy and being too disappointed. I like
the whole the moment right at the beginning of the movie where she's about to go out and have an actual moment with her because the daughter stormed out because she referred to her girlfriend as her best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And she storms out, and you can see she's about to have an actual moment, and she's like, "You need to eat less. You're fat.
You look fat." It's just like, oh shit, so close.
Come on,
you almost made it, man. Oh man. But I really do like that. So much of the back half of the movie was, even though I have seen myself, like the Evelyn and Waymond relationship through so many of these universes and the multiverses, she still sees how well he complements her in kind of the main universe they're in. Like, they are a really good match, and yeah, she missed out on so many of the things she could have been in her life, but that's kind of how life goes, man. Like, you make a decision and you miss out on the stuff you didn't choose to do, and that's okay.
Alfred Waymond does not help, where he's like, I don't know what it is with this universe, but every decision you make here, it goes badly.
It's just,
and every other effect of that decision, it goes great.
Yeah, he's like, you're just so good at being terrible. And it's like, oh, yeah, okay, ouch, man. I think the thing that I was kind of surprised that I liked, because I think if the script wasn't so good and if the directing wasn't so good, I think it would be easy for this to be sort of painfully cheesy. Is at the very end when Evelyn is going up those stairs and fighting all of the people across the different multiverses, and like honestly like saving them with love in like a JRPG sort of way.
It immediately did make me think of a JRPG.
Right, like I'm gonna save my daughter by saving all of you with friendship. You know, like it really did feel like that. But there's something about it that I think worked really well for that. I think there's probably an argument to be made that like maybe it's hammering home its point too many times in too many different ways, but I think all of that stuff landed for me in a way that I think felt really good, and it didn't feel like, well, here I'm the hero coming to save everybody's lives, and it's really, like you said, Evelyn's the bad guy, and she's like trying to unravel all of this damage she's done across all of these different universes in which she's been a pretty selfish, pretty terrible person.
Can we talk about the whole concept of like the verse jumping, where you basically jump into the body of a different version of you with a specific skill set?
Yep.
And more particularly how you do it by having a jumping off point, because I think we need to discuss the variety of jumping off points that are in this movie.
And it's such a clever way of doing it, saying like you're gonna jump to another universe by doing something unexpected. Like I feel like the movie communicates it really well early on by the strange things that both Evelyn and Waymond have to do to like to get the powers. That paper cut between the fingers scene just still is really I like Waymond being like it's impossible, it happens when you don't want them to happen. It's like, yeah, that's pretty good.
You have to express your love for Evelyn,
right?
Or no, you have to express your love for the lady
Deirdre.
Yes, and mean it is pretty solid.
Yep.
The snot and bodily fluid related ones were funny and gross at the same time.
Yep.
And we can talk around the Auditor of the Year award.
When they showed it at the beginning, I was just like, that's the thing.
The thing we can't talk about on this show.
Yeah, like it's an aid that
grown-up aid.
Yeah, and I'm very much like even this far into the movie, this movie seems very on top of what is showing you. So I don't I have to think that's not an accident, and just the fight over it much later in the movie was really great, where it's like at the moment that it clicks for you, it clicks for Evelyn, and she's like trying to push it across the desk and like push it out of the way. And that shot of the other dude with his pants off just screaming across the top of that desk, it's so good. Like just the unbelievable way that it manages to, it's a genuinely funny movie, and it's a genuinely affecting and like heartbreaking movie, and it does all of that stuff so well, and
while still being super absurd in the same way it does it. Like it's like I was genuinely heartbroken by a scene involving two rocks and text on a screen.
Yeah, like I'd be in the movie theater, be like, "Don't cry, everyone can hear you right now. Don't cry."
Because there's no sound, there's no dialogue. It's literally just text on a screen.
Right. And then like the idea that the big like MacGuffin of the movie is an everything bagel that's eating multiverses. Like it's just
everything bagel. I put everything on the bagel.
Yeah. And it's like heartbreaking that the number of things she put in there from like a personal standpoint is like all of the like a test that has an A-
Hopes
on it,
dreams,
disappointments, like just been beaten down by this woman that is trying to do right and is trying to mean well and just can't get there until the majority of the movie is over. And I like the actor that plays Joy and Jobu Tupaki. Like, the switch between the two of them, I think, is really good.
It's so good.
And I think Jobu Tupaki as this... There's that really great shot where she's, like...
the
cocking
wrist
her
click.
head.
It's...
Yeah.
Because I think she does the wrist click, and I think the lead lady does the head click.
Yep.
But, like, it's a shot from behind, because she's got the hood up.
Yep.
And she, like, holds her fingers up, like, in a two fingers straight up thing, and then goes click, click, click.
Yep.
And as she clicks her hand, the universe changes.
It's such a cool shot.
It's such a great shot.
Yeah. And like, I think it's such a great shot of setting up that as much as Evelyn is learning how to do this and Waymond is good at this, they're nowhere close to what Jobu Tupaki can do. And I think she's a real threat throughout so much of the movie in like the different ways she takes out all of these different people by just destroying them or turning them into confetti or like just any number of just weird things is just really great.
And it's this cool little moment as well where, like, you do genuinely get the feeling that she is just messing with some fools.
Yep.
Like, nobody's a threat. As she says herself, nothing matters. Right. Nobody's a threat. Like this is, who cares kind of situation.
Right. Yeah, and like
so good.
The number of I appreciate how many different meanings so many things takes on. Like you just said that she says that nothing matters, and the swing that phrase takes over the whole life of the movie, I think, is really great. We also can't forget legendary actor James Hong as Gong Gong in this movie, who most of us will know from Big Trouble in Little China. But he's been in like approximately 4.5 million movies throughout his life.
Yes.
And it's another movie where he just kills it. Like, he's just so good, and just his like immeasurable disappointment even as Alpha Gong Gong is just really great.
He has a robot wheelchair.
He sure does. It's like a transformer at the end of the movie where he turns it into like an exoskeleton. It's great.
Like what?
Yeah.
Why? How?
That's really good.
Like, that's unreal. Like how? Yeah, he's great. He's fantastic.
Yeah,
everyone in this movie is fantastic. Like, Jamie Lee Curtis is incredible.
Yep.
Like, Ke Huy Quan is as Waymond is.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure I've never seen anything with him in it, and he might be one of the best parts of this movie.
Most people don't remember him from his Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. That was his first acting role.
Short Round?
Yeah.
I've never seen Indiana Jones. Okay. It's on the list.
Have you seen The Goonies? That was his second role.
Oh,
he was Data.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah,
okay.
So he really hasn't been in a lot of movies. I think he's only been in like 10, 12 movies. But like, man, he does such a good job.
So good.
Like, and
he's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, Michelle Yeoh is great because she's great in everything. Like, I don't know if I've seen a bad thing, but everybody is so versatile in this movie in a way that I think we kind of don't get. The changing on a dime between universes and characters and people are playing, and whether they're their raccoon version or not. It's just
that reveal is so good. By the way, that raccoon reveal is ridiculous.
That giant raccoon is on that dude's head, and it's just like, you're my best friend, Ratatouille, and I was just like, oh my god, that was so good. The payoff was worth it.
Yeah, it was. Can we also give full props to Mona Lisa Saperstein for being the same actress she always is and playing that person?
Yep. Was she the dog lady, Big Nose?
Yes, Jenny Slate.
Jenny Slate is always so good in everything she's in.
I think her performance in Venom was great and totally unexpected, because every time I ever see her, she plays this character.
Yep.
The California, like, valley girl,
Yep.
I'm rich and better than you kind of thing. She gets in a fight scene with a dog, like, which you forgot all about until I literally just said that.
Oh, I forgot so much. It's such a funny scene, dude. Like, the dog getting locked in that fridge is just the funniest thing. And I love when movies are like, all right, we're gonna have a fight scene with this dog, and it's so clearly like a stuffed dog.
Yeah.
Like, in a way that's just like, we're not even CG this, we're just gonna put a bunch of weights in this stuffed dog, and it's all gonna be good.
We're gonna pretend that, you know, it's clearly a dog and it's not. It's such a good moment. And one thing I will give this movie credit for is it does not explain everything. It doesn't even go out of its way to try and make you understand. Because at the very first time that they do the verse jumping thing, it's Alpha Wayman coming in to stop the IRS.
Right.
The IRS is the villain, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, it's him coming to stop them from basically locking up the family.
Right.
And
because Evelyn has taken some creative liberties with her taxes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like when he like unclips that belt and then he does the
little fanny pack.
We call it a a bum bag in England.
Yep. That's a way better name for it, by the way.
It means the same thing. Fanny pack, bum bag.
Exactly.
Exact same thing.
Yep.
But when he takes that off and then he like lengthens with one of the straps out, I'm like, yeah,
it's on now, man.
Down. And then even better is when he gets his back against the wall and he just reaches over his head and grabs a bunch of rocks from a fish tank. Yep. And I'm like, no, don't you put that in
don't
the
do that.
bag.
What are you doing?
And then he puts it in and it's like, okay, now it's even more painful because it's full of rocks.
Some real good fight scenes in this movie that have a real weight to the action that I think we kind of don't always get. I know that probably like I haven't read too many people's impressions on this movie, largely because I really like it and I don't want to hear a bunch of people being like, well, actually, and being the internet about it. And I think that the kind of cheap shorthand would probably be like, we don't get action like this in Marvel movies, but that's not really fair because Winter Soldier is really good. But I think
Winter Soldier might be some of the best action scenes of all. Also, Shang-Chi exists, so don't even start.
Oh, well, I haven't seen that. But I think
I know you haven't.
We typically don't get really solid action like this, at least in like a wide release movie lately, and it's really refreshing to see not only like really good humor, really good action, you know, a really touching movie, but just a movie that's really weird. Like, it's just such a strange thing that everybody loves, and I love it.
It's literally defined as an absurdist as well, which I didn't think I would ever like an absurdist film, but then the people have hot dogs with fingers, which is still incredibly gross. Well, no. I do like the fact that the first time that happens, she's trying to like verse jump into that combat version of herself again, and then she skips, and then she's trying to fight, but because of the fingers,
her hands are like laid down in the other universe, and she's just like,
she's doing the Deadpool, the Tyrannosaurus is the most feared animal bit from that movie.
But and then like when they switch back to it, because I thought that was just going to be a one-off joke. And be like, look at this, like, when they switch back to it and she's in the laundromat and they're watching the romantic movie again.
The King and I believe it is.
It's not, but it's very reminiscent of King and I. But where the actors have the hot dog hands too. And she gets surprised and she like accidentally yells at Jamie Lee Curtis, and like the moment for me that the movie kind of turns a little bit where Jamie Lee Curtis is like, why are you always so cruel? And I was like, dang, hot dog fingers, that was something else is going on here in the hot dog verse.
Yeah So brace yourself.
Okay.
Brace yourself for the psychic damage.
I'm ready.
Because This movie made me realize that we probably need to start having an awards like
Oh no.
season show
Okay.
for not. I'm not saying do a season based around an award season. I'm saying do a season based around major winners of the
Right.
best picture of the year,
Like
the
this
Oscars, the
movie, this
Golden
movie took
Globes.
home 35 Oscars. We should probably watch it.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Or did this movie take home an Oscar? It really shouldn't. I'm looking at you, Shakespeare in Love. I don't care what you say. I hate that movie.
It's not great. Yeah.
No,
No.
and that should not have won that year. But that's what I made me realize it, because like normally this is the type of movie that everyone would ignore for the Oscars. This is not an Oscar movie.
It'd
I
be
don't think it
very
is.
much like a cult classic where everyone's like, "Look, man, if you like weird stuff, you need to watch this movie with the long title in it because it's." I'm not going to tell you anything about it. Here's the VHS. It's 2 VHSs. Just go home and watch it.
Whereas like it feels like maybe the Oscars is changing a little bit and it's being
Yeah.
more accepting. I know they had that one year where they were like, look, we're sorry we didn't give The Lord of the Rings any awards. Now The Return of the King can have every single one of them.
That's
Like,
right. We'll make it up to you. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
but like that felt like the first bend in the Oscars. And this, have you seen how many things this has been nominated for at the
So
Oscars,
many.
dude?
Yeah, like
Like,
nearly everything. And I think we saw a little bit of that with Parasite too, which is a very deserving movie for all the awards it got.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, I think we have that in some
We do.
season. I don't remember. But yeah, I agree with you. Where it's very much like it's nice to see these. I feel like even 10 years ago it'd be like best foreign film. You know, like and it's just like,
Yes.
boy, okay, that's still sort of sucks, but okay.
Uh-huh.
And it's nice to see that it's kind of funny because when we planned out the season, we very much talked about we didn't want to call it like the best and the worst of 2022 because
That's kind of just how it came out.
and we were hopeful that Morbius was going to be better than
Dumb
it
fun.
was. Yeah, and
A Venom level of fun, one might say.
exactly. Yeah. And it was kind of funny that like right as we were getting ready to record the first part of this episode, it was what was the previous
Golden Globes.
Yeah, the Golden Globes where they're like, here's 17 here, here's another 5 Golden Globes. Oh, before you leave, here's like 7 more of them. It's like, okay, so we probably picked a good one here.
Job.
But yeah, I agree.
Well, I think it's. I hope the Oscar continues to change. I genuinely do.
Yeah, 100%.
But oh no, dude.
Yes. More psychic damage incoming.
Yeah, I made the mistake of Googling 2023 movies.
Oh no, that's a dark path.
There is a Christmas movie called The Red One.
Okay. All right. Is that the evil
And
Grinch movie that's coming out? By the way, is that what it's called?
No, that's the mean one.
How could I get them confused?
Well, The Red One appears to be a Christmas movie with The Rock as an elf. An elf dressed in leather looks like he's ready to kick some butt.
Okay.
And Chris Evans is in the movie.
Just like this, just like everything everywhere. This episode has gone places.
Oh, and by the way, J.K. Simmons is Santa. That's all I'll say. Moving on. No, I like this. It's hard to talk about this movie. Like it genuinely is.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember I can't remember what game I described as this, but it's an experience to say the least.
And I feel like either we'll have this episode where we're doing our best, or we have like a 4.5 hour episode of like, we're gonna break it down. Let's go. We're gonna have like a YouTube documentary style. Like strap in. Here's the intermission.
My word!
Yeah.
Oh my word! Minutes by everywhere.
How many episodes would that be? So many episodes. At the very least, like, how many when Evelyn at the end has the flashing between like 700 universes where you're seeing all the different Evelyn's.
Oh wow,
Like, how many
that's
episodes
gonna
be
be
like,
the longest episode
this
ever.
episode we're covering 70 different Evelyns. This one is on Twitter. This one has black goop coming out of her
This
eyes.
one is the anime one who looked sick.
That did look sick as hell. Also, we didn't even talk about the pinata Evelyn and Joy. Switching to it, and they're like, and that's what we're doing here. Okay, fair enough. God,
There's too much to talk about. Like,
yeah,
and
and
I cannot stress how amazing the acting is all around,
yeah,
like everywhere. It's so good.
it's one of those few movies that I think I came out of with no real complaints. Like, I think if you want to really nitpick it, I'm sure there are some problems, but I think if you kind of go in, maybe more on the cinema wins than the cinema sins of the that sliding spectrum. I think it's just kind of this really touching, kind of human story, and I think it's. I also appreciate the amount of fighting that Evelyn has to do to kind of keep herself out of the quote unquote better universes, like where she's the movie star and Waymond is like
And she wants
super
to go back
clean
all the time.
Yeah, she's just like, what if I take a peek over at that one? That Evelyn seems like she's doing pretty well.
Like, and every universe seems to be shot in a slightly different manner as well. Like that, the one where she's the martial artist seems to have that very hazy backdrop that you'll get in a lot of like romance like movies, where it's like you got the street, the foreground, the two characters on either side of the alley, and then just a haze in the background.
And a lot of times they're shot in different aspect ratios too. Like, if you look at the kind of like stereotypical kind of Chinese action martial arts movies, like the Pinky Exercise universe, like that is shot in a significantly different, like almost kind of VHS era, like shot on real film kind of thing. Like it's kind of a hazier, dirtier sort of thing that I think works really well. There's a lot of attention to detail
all the way around.
Yeah,
like it's unreal. And I mean, that's what I was going to bring up. The outfits. Can we talk about the outfits? Like the
I'll talk about them all day.
Set design, like they are insane. Like Jubi Tupaki's outfits are quality up and down the board.
Well, and what I think is really interesting is I think the first time you see her, she's in that golf outfit, right? Like, it's not even anything crazy. Is it? They're in that,
after it's revealed that it's Joy. Yeah, she's wearing the golfer outfit.
Yeah, and I was like, I appreciate the level of kind of not restraint, but I like the kind of difference there between her destroying all those security guards in this regular outfit, and then most of the rest of the movie, when she's in front of the Everything Bagel, she has the Everything Bagel kind of hairstyle, but the rest of the movie she has some very outlandish outfits, which I think is pretty cool.
She's dressed like Elvis with a pig for one of those scenes.
Yes. I forgot about that. Yeah.
And you hear the music that's about to play. Don't you want to dance? Like the whole concept of like the fact that she shifts things to different universes as she's holding them is so good, because it's like, now this person's made of like the shiny pieces of paper, confetti.
Yep.
Like this person's now made of confetti and turns into confetti. And now this is a gun instead of something else. Like, it's so good.
And even the reveal of Joy being Jobu Tupaki, of like when the camera moves over and it's Becky sitting there talking to her, and you're just like, oh no, okay, that's, boy, this seems real bad. Whoops, it really is her.
The ode to the mask with the cha-cha dancing is just fantastic. I don't know what is going on with the weird caterpillar outfit, but I'm fine with it. Like the long tubes and the green fuzzy things.
Fashion can be confusing sometimes. That's not the world I live in.
It can be. I mean, I just Google the fashion line derelict if you don't believe it.
He told me to derelict. Never mind. Um, I don't. I again, we've probably said this a couple of times. We're wrapping up this episode. I wish I had more to talk about this movie, but
It's
all of it is
by
good.
definition. But yeah, by definition, it's a multiverse movie, so it bounces and jumps around all over the
Right.
place. And it's kind of hard to cover that, especially the speed at which this thing goes. Like, this felt like it was like a 90-minute movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
But it's shockingly cohesive. Like it is
uh-huh.
so well put together, and it's one of those movies that you can look at it and say like, all right, when people say that a movie has a solid script to start with, this feels like one of those movies. I don't know enough about movie making. Maybe we'll learn more as we go through this show. But like it feels like one of those movies that when they started shooting, like everything was 100% prepared and everything was totally set. And it feels like it paid off really, really well.
Uh-huh.
Man, just
It's
so
great.
good.
The music's fantastic. The acting, like I cannot stress this enough. Acting all around
Yep.
is just incredible.
And like four or five main people, like you said, and just all of them are like giving 12 out of 10 performances the entire time. I feel like
Glad to see.
the person that I like the least in the movie is Jamie Lee Curtis, and that's kind of saying something. Like usually they're like, Jamie Lee Curtis is in this. She's the best thing, hands down. She killed it. And it's like, yeah, she's fine in this, but everybody else is killing it.
I think it's good to like. It's 2023. I think it's good to see both Brendan Fraser and Michelle Yeoh get their flowers.
Yeah,
I believe it's the phrase.
100%.
Like, it's good to see them both getting that respect and love and everything else.
Right.
Like, it's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. If your friends haven't seen it, go tell them. Go see it. Watch your friends watch this the first time. Like this would be one of those great movies to be like, we're gonna watch a movie. Just take the ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I kind of want to go watch Gunpowder Milkshake now, just because like she's in that too, and then so is like a bunch of women that I adore. So I'm tempted to maybe go see that.
Yeah, I've heard that's pretty good. All right. Well, that's season 18. We covered the highs and the lows of 2022.
I don't know, man. Matt Smith danced. He did that.
That's right. Yeah,
dance.
he did a shuffle. He did a moonwalk while he's fighting. He did it. So if you are a patron over at patreon.com/E1M1,
those ones are numbers.
if you're a patron at the $5 tier or higher, don't forget to check out the season 19 Critical Misses production meeting, where we're kind of figuring out a couple of new seasons here. We go through and find like 2 topics that both turn out to have like 75 movies in them. I don't know how we're going to tackle either one of them.
Here's 6 seasons worth of content. Go.
That's right. Yeah, 5 minutes, 6 seasons. Let's do it.
Boston.
Yeah.
I came up with another bad idea.
Oh no. Wait, is it bad
Movies
good or
with
bad
similar
bad?
bad good.
Okay.
Movies with similar posters.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know how the video game first person shooter has the white guy holding the gun walking
Right.
towards the box,
Right.
walking towards the viewer. Just because I happen to have Gunpowder Milkshake's poster up, and that looks very similar to Jolt and Kate and
Right.
like 3 other movie posters. So I'm
So
just saying.
That's a good preview for the production meeting. That's very similar.
Uh-huh.
Just like, oh no, what have I found? That's very much, and we usually have short episodes at an hour and change. But reminder, that is Patreon exclusive at the $5 tier or higher. I think all of the ones
It
that we've
has
done.
language.
Yes, it is uncensored. So if you want to giggle at us swearing more. That's all. I don't blame you. That's also good. But all of those we put out have been really good. Usually they take a very winding route to get sometimes back to where we started, but usually not, which is pretty fun. So $5 tier or higher, patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
That's it for season 18. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next season for something a little bit different. Bye.